Welcome to HomeFront SitRep. I hope you're in for a great show today, because I'm just a veteran talking about what's on my mind and maybe yours.
You can find HomeFront SitRep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. You can also check out HomeFront SitRep's YouTube channel.
Buckle up, the show is starting.
Still in the fight, different battlefield, same damn life. No spotlight shining on the ones who serve, just great sacrifice and a whole lot of nerve. From small town shops to a helping hand, we're lifting each other, yeah, that's the plan. No red tape, no filter, no disguise, just truth in the fire behind our eyes. This is HomeFront SitRep, hear the call, where the real ones rise and the fallen stand tall. Every voice matters, every story's legit. We're family here, this is HomeFront SitRep. From the shadows to the spotlight we step. Yeah, this is HomeFront SitRep. From the scars we carry to the lives we rebuild, from the weight of silence to the strength of will. Non-profits grinding, boots on the street, no headlines chasing, just mission complete. Veteran alone, still chasing the dream. From a mic to a message, we're building a team. Creators and fighters, yeah, we all belong. Turn the pain into purpose, turn the hurt into song. No politics, no games, no divide. Just warriors standing side by side. This is HomeFront SitRep, hear the call, where the real ones rise and the fallen stand tall. Every voice matters, every story's legit. We're family here, this is HomeFront SitRep. From the shadows to the spotlight we step. Yeah, this is HomeFront SitRep. But we don't forget, we don't walk away. We carry each other through every day. From combat boots to a boss to a seat, still standing tall, still hard to defeat. Real stories, real impact, real people. This ain't just a podcast. This is a movement. This is HomeFront SitRep, loud and clear, for the ones still fighting year after year. Every voice matters, every story's legit. We're family here, this is HomeFront SitRep. Yeah, we rise, we grind, no regret. Welcome to HomeFront SitRep.
Welcome, everybody, to a Monday edition of HomeFront SitRep. Bro, that eagle was stupid loud, sir. Welcome back, Gunny. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. Had a great week, if you would. I left last Tuesday, took off to Maine to spend some time with my family before we had to work, right? So we, what's he saying? That's right. Troy's back in the States for this week, doing some stuff up there at headquarters. So welcome back stateside, Troy. Hope you had a great trip down south last week. But yeah, no, I spent some time with my family. Got into Maine noonish on Tuesday. Spent half the day with my mom and one of my nieces and one of my nephews. And then Wednesday, we took off to my most favorite Chinese restaurant in the world, a place that I grew up eating, basically my entire time I lived in Maine, and every time I go home, I eat there. Wing Waz restaurant in Lincoln, dude, some of the best sweet and sour sauce duck sauce you'll ever find. You can stand your chicken finger up and leave it in the sweet and sour sauce. It's so thick. It's freaking amazing.
Heck yeah.
And then Thursday, I made a trip down to the coast, down to Waldoboro, and picked up some lobster. Fresh Maine lobster. Not just live, but fresh. I mean, off the boat, less than a half hour. Brought them back to the campground where my parents stay, cooked them up for everybody. And then Friday off to Portland, man, picked up Matt and Eric at the hotel, or at the airport in Portland. We visited the Portland Head Lighthouse, which is one of the more famous lighthouses in Maine, most visited lighthouses in Maine, because it is so close to the airport. And then did our jump on Friday in Lewiston, Maine, for the Lewiston Auburn Balloon Festival. It was Red, White, and Balloon this year was the theme. So we were able to jump for that, 2 large American flags and a sponsor banner. And we dedicated our first night to Specialist Daniel Cunningham, who was killed in a vehicular accident in, was it 2003, I think. 2003 in Iraq. And then next day, same thing. Yeah, we did some of the Maine staple stuff, Governor's Restaurant, and some other Maine type things, things we can't get out here in the central part of the states. And did another jump, dedicated that jump to Staff Sergeant Tommy Fields, who was killed in the Battle of Mogadishu. He was from Lisbon, Maine, which is, I don't know, 15 minutes at the most from downtown Lewiston. I don't know if he had 2 older brothers. His parents have passed, and I don't know if his brothers are still alive, but we went over to the cemetery where Tommy is, and we took our before photo at the marker for Tommy. And then we sent that back to one of the pilots that served with Tommy. And then, Sunday, woke up, took everybody up to Bangor. We did the Stephen King house, and we did some other Maine staple stuff there, and Paul Bunyan, and showed him, one of the cemeteries where Pet Cemetery was filmed, and then back down and to get ready to jump. And the weather was horrible. It was all day. Like, we were like, this jump isn't going to happen. And then this massive clear hole, you can see all the way to the heavens, opens up, and we're like, oh, this might happen. So I'm down at the field waiting. And 2 minutes prior to exit, it just comes back in on us at like 1,800 feet. No jump. But that day was dedicated to Sergeant Joel House from Lee, Maine, who was killed in 2007 in Taji, Iraq. His mom and dad started House in the Woods, which is a veteran retreat up in Lee, in his name. So, I mean, it was a great week at home, right? And then started the trek back today, left my brother's house at 4:00 this morning, got to the airport, boarded my plane. For the first time, freaking mark it on the calendars, zero issues up or back. No delay, no nothing. Dude, I could have friggin' crawled off the plane to my next gate and still had time to be at that before we boarded. So, but yeah, it was a great week. And then, of course, this weekend, Friday, I'm in Latunji or something like that, Indiana, for the Kiwanis Balloon Festival. Saturday, we have the Mogadishu Mile planning meeting. And then next week.
Busy.
Yeah. Friday night lights in the great state of Indiana for Purdue University. Saturday during the day in Boone, North Carolina for App State, which I'm excited for the App State game. They always have a good team. Before they stepped up to D1, I mean, they were a 5-time reigning national champ, right? They upset Michigan in a bad way at the Big House.
Right.
but they're playing the University of Maine. Yeah. And then Sunday, I am either not confirmed yet, but I'm either driving or flying to Nebraska for a jump on Monday at the Nebraska State Fair.
Man.
And then I'm home, and then who knows what that next week it brings. That next weekend is that, September 10, 11, 12. We always have a lot of stuff going on there. If my mind serves me right, I'm probably going to be in Missouri at Missouri State for the football game. And then the weekend after that is one of my most favorite weekends of the year. I'll be in Ocean City, New Jersey for the Ocean City Air Show. We do 3 jumps while we're up there. We do 2 jumps on Saturday, a jump at the airport, and then we do a night pyro jump onto the beach right by Music Pier. It's freaking amazing. Again, it's one of my most favorite ones. And then Sunday, we kick off their air show with a big 5,000 square foot American flag jump onto the beach. So yeah, that's been my week, my upcoming next 2 to 3 weeks. And I know you were busy back and forth, moving the girls.
Yeah, so I talked about it last night on the episode. So on Wednesday, we moved Lo into her college. That was a really fun experience, let me tell you. And then on Friday, we moved Grace back into EKU, and man, that went so smooth, except for now she can't find her laptop charger, which she needs because today was the first day of class. So I looked at the house when I got home today after work, and I didn't see it here. So she's got to have it somewhere in her mess of stuff. So hopefully she finds it. If not, she'll be ordering a new one, and have it Amazoned up there to her. And then, of course, working, of course, I took both of those days off, but I had to work on Saturday. Temperature wise, man, let me tell you, Saturday was brutal in the morning, and then it cooled down. I know not for you, but for here,
I didn't see above 80 the entire week, bro.
God, I wanna come up there and hang out with you in Maine for a little bit.
It was amazing.
And then, of course, last night we had the Price of Freedom Foundation on, and I will tell you, we talk about it all the time. Me and you, we talk about it all the time here on HomeFront SitRep. Honor and remember and say their names, right? Because, like you said, they die twice. They die when they die, and then they die when people stop saying their names. And this guy, Lieutenant Colonel Dennis Schroeder, has taken his mission, his new mission in life is to highlight service members that paid the ultimate sacrifice and tell their life story. Now he's also evolved where he's going into like Green Star families as well, to honor, remember. Now he's doing this, he's doing it all out of his own pocket. He's not funded anyway, but his own pocket. So right now it's him, and I think he said 10 other, yes, this is Norton, this is live. Him and 10 other volunteers. And it's just like, man, it's super cool because you have like the Pat Tillman Foundation that honored and remember Pat Tillman, and you have these other ones that the family only focuses on their family member because that's their family, right? Well, this guy,
the main focus is the service member that made the ultimate sacrifice, right? But they are out there doing great things for either the spouses, the kids, or other service members in the name of their loved one.
Right.
But there's so many out there, and you talked about it last night. I mean, I was listening. I was driving back up 95 from Southern Maine back up to Central Maine. But there's so many out there that do not get mentioned, right? Even the ones that have a nonprofit or a foundation or a trust or something in their son or daughter or loved one's name. The ones that make the national news are the ones that, the families put forth, max effort to get it out there. Or of course, Pat was in the NFL and left the NFL and, went Ranger, and we all know his story, but it was national coverage because of who he was prior to joining.
Yeah. So I think it's super cool though, because we talked about Honor Remember, the Gold Star family from that you introduced us to, and what they do, and everybody friggin' has their own way of doing it. Well, this guy has no skin in the game because he doesn't know the service members. He's doing it because he thinks that their stories need to be remembered, and I was like, man, this is super cool because you and I, we have friends that unfortunately lost their battle with their demon, and I think it would be cool to have their story out there to get to know them on a much more deeper level.
Yeah.
Than what we know as brothers from the Marine Corps. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's super cool. So I was telling him about possibly hooking him up with the Gold Star dad there with Honor Remember, and seeing how they can maybe how they can collab together, and see if that would go any further collaboration wise. And then I reached out to Nick Palmasino and Hollywood Herd because he wants to do documentaries as well, of these stories of our brothers and sisters that paid the ultimate sacrifice. So I think it's super cool. But anyway, we got a great guest coming on tonight. What do you think? We got a great.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I got home, went to lunch, and I freaking came. I'm getting old, man. I took a nap. I took a long ass nap too. I took so long of a nap. The wife is the one that woke me up when she got home from work. So I woke up, cooked dinner, and everything. So I read a little bit. But you know how I am. I like to learn from the guest.
Yeah. Yeah.
That way, I don't know. Maybe it's just the way that my brain works, but I like to learn from the guest, not asking the question on the fly, right? And instead of reading everything about the guest, what they're doing, what what the foundation is or whatever, and then having a preset question that I want to ask, and then the guest answers it, I'm like deflated because they took my thunder because I couldn't ask my question. So I'd rather just listen from the guest and be able to just throw a question out there. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. All right, so let me do a little bit of an introduction here. And I'm probably, Anyway, Stephen Page is a U.S. Army combat veteran, former human intelligence specialist. There is a acronym for that, but I'm not even going to try to. It's
HUMINT.
HUMINT.
Yeah.
Say it again.
HUMINT or HUMINT. It depends on where you're from in the nation.
Where you're from.
Yeah.
Competitive martial artist, instructor, and small business owner. He was born and raised in Preston, Idaho, and served on I am Idaho. Served on active duty in the Army from 2008 to 2012 as a 35 Mike, including a deployment in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. So let's bring him up. What do you think, Gunny?
Yeah, I'm sure 18 minutes of us running our suck. People are ready to see the guest.
Yeah, let's bring him up. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Hey guys, how are you guys doing?
We are doing wonderful, man. First off, I want to say thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come hang out with Gunny and I as we run our sucks. But do me a favor, introduce yourself to the world of HomeFront SitRep if you don't mind.
Well, everyone, I'm Stephen Page. Just a small town country boy with a very unique background and story when it comes to my service, and then what I'm doing now with how I am still serving my community, but on the private side with doing what I'm doing. But yeah, I was born and raised in Preston, Idaho. My upbringing was country, was on a dairy farm from the age of pretty much I could walk. I was working on a dairy farm.
How many people were in your graduating class?
Oh gosh, Gunny. Okay, graduating class like 32.
Holy cow!
You got me beat.
Like, what was yours?
We were 70 something, but from 9 different towns, surrounding towns.
Yeah, we had like 30 from like 4 surrounding towns. So that was, and like my brother's class, which was a couple years before me, he had the largest with like 40 something in the history of the school.
I think we were the largest too, and still the largest. But yeah, it's crazy. I have small town USA here too, so I get it.
I see how many I had in my graduating class.
Couple hundred.
It's still a small town, but we only had one high school. So you got the whole county that went to this high school. So I think we had roughly around 350, 400.
Wow. That's a lot.
That is a lot. Now, my daughter, who just graduated this year, now she's a freshman in college, she had over 500 in her class.
Whoa.
So, yeah. But anyway, man, so let's talk about your military service a little bit, because you're a human intelligence collector. Me being the dummy infantry guy that I am, tell me what that is and what that entails.
So what a human, it's called, we say human, you can say HUMINT, you know, whatever, like Gunny said, from whatever kind of side of the country you're on. But a human intelligence collector, what we pretty much are is, we like to joke talking about like being in the military. We're the grunts of the MI world. We're out there talking to, you know, we're collecting intelligence from humans, you know, so we're doing military source operations. So we're going out to people who are, you know, willing individuals to give us intelligence, and we call them sources. There are sources of our intel. And then we have the next side with that is we have the interrogation side, which is where we, you know, we obviously go in, do a snatch and grab, you know, pull back of the detainee, and then I get to go in and interrogate them to get intel out of them. And then the other, there's another side of that, which is our debriefing side, where, you know, if, you know, I was attached to Gunny's unit, as soon as Gunny gets back inside the wire, I'm going, all right. Part of the debrief is I sit there and I actually ask them specific questions, but also at the same time, I'm training those Marines or those infantry, you know, soldiers, tactical questioning to get intel for me, so that I don't have to worry about going out there, or if, hey, I can, you know, it's two, you know, I can knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. I could be doing an interrogation, but simultaneously I can have grunts out there getting intel for me instead of me being boots on the ground. So we work that. And then we also do screenings. So like whenever like a LN, a local national, will come on base, or we would screen them, get information out of them, but it's so we can track them. So if we can go back and turn them into a source.
That's super cool. So Gunny, when you were over there, did you have any dealings? How was it with, you know, between the Army and Marines?
I mean, so it's crazy, right? So we all razz each other over everything, right? There was just a crayon comment in there, or whatever. They're just pissed because we steal their writing utensils, assuming they can write. But no, it's a great relationship, right? Because we had both Army and Marine intelligence specialists that would come in and out, right? Because they're not with you the entire time. Like where I was, they weren't with us the entire time, because they're jumping around, you know, the region that their, you know, area of operation is, right? Because there's such a small unit that they have to continue to move. But yeah, like it's the same thing. We were out and we'd be like the old man that sits on the corner from 3 to 5 every single day. Well, now he's not out on the corner. Why? And then, you know, the HUMINT team would come and be like, hey, you know, that old man that sits on the corner, he wasn't there today. You know, and then they'll go out and ask the locals, hey, you know, where's the guy that was here? And like, oh yeah, he just don't feel good. He didn't come home. Okay, no big deal. But it could be they don't give the answer, and then he's not there the next day. He's not there the next day. So now you got to dig into why he isn't in there, and he's not there because they put an IED in the road and they're just waiting for a military convoy or something to come through, and he knows about it. So yeah, I mean, it's a great working relationship, and I mean, it's no different than us working with the military working dog handlers, right? You know, we don't have those in the infantry. You know, we have to get them outsourced from other units. We had a female dog handler with us for the elections. So all that relationship stuff, when you're in country, mean, just like it was when we were in Haiti. You know, we worked with everybody to include the Coast Guard. So that the end goal of, you know, the working relationship is what matters at that time.
Gotcha. What's going on, Rich LaMonica? How are you, sir? All right. So you did that from 2008 to 2012, and
Yeah.
and then you transitioned out. Now, how was your transition? This is something we love to talk about, is how your transition was after getting out of the military service. I can tell you how mine was. Gunny can tell you how his was. How was your transition?
So originally, I didn't want to get out. I actually extended. So when I was in, they got rid of stop loss and they changed it to the extension program so that I could actually extend my contract, because I was still like in the hashings of. Well, first off, I was going to be downrange. I was going to be in country when my contract expired, and I was like, I'm not going downrange for 6 months. If I'm going for my full tour, which was 12 months at the time. So I was like, nope, I'm doing because with my unit and the guys I was attached to and the guys I got to know, I was like, no, I'm not going to abandon them in the middle of the fight. Like that's not who I am. So I also was extending because I was still trying to hash out my contract, because I wanted to do another rotation. I want to do my 8 years minimum. And my plan was so in the MI community, where I was at, I was with, we had a sister battalion that was a squadron of Cav Scouts, and we also had an LURS unit, a long range reconnaissance and surveillance unit. And a lot of those guys were former, Green Berets, Rangers. A lot of them came out of the 75th Ranger Regiment, or they were just coming out of a group. So for me, I was hearing their stories, and I'm like, oh, I want to go do that stuff. And then I was stationed in Fort Hood, so we would go down to Camp Bullis and be with the 19th group guys and the 20th group guys. So we were constantly around special operations. So I was like, this is where I want to go. And luckily enough, when I was downrange, I got to work with ODAs from 3rd group and 7th group and 5th group, because they were all bouncing around. And it was so cool to be with them, and especially the 18 Foxtrots. And so I was like, I wanted to be in there. So that's what the plan was, is I was going to go with Special Forces Assessment and Selection. However, stuff and kind of bringing it up with your guys' name, the HomeFront came up with my family. My brother contracted kidney failure, and I was a possible donor. And so my commanding officer, my brigade, my colonel, my full birth, he actually ripped up my reenlistment papers and said, no, you're going to go be with your dad, with your family, your mom, your dad, and your brother, because your brother needs you more than the military does. You've done your service, get out. So I got out. It was hard because I felt like I was still in the military, but yet I was out. And it was in this, because I was in that weird reserve status and IRR status where it was like, you're in the military, but you're out. And I didn't know that, because for the last 4 years, it's been, wake up, PT, 09, formation. Okay. You're doing this, you're doing that, you're what you got to do. And your day-to-day thing being on, and you were on base. So it's like, it was beaten into me, I'm branded with it. So it was kind of hard because I didn't know what to do. And I lost my purpose. I went from changing geopolitical and national events with the intel I was gathering to being just an everyday Joe Schmo. So I was just like, what do I do with my life? So I started really having problems with my PTSD and with my, my anxiety, my depression. And so it was a struggle until I found purpose. And luckily it was kind of beaten into me, if you want to say, because I got into martial arts, and that was my purpose at the time, was all right. And then I got into the private sector. So the martial arts kind of beat me into, oh, hey, there is more to life than what you've already done.
Heck yeah, man. That's awesome. So now you found martial arts. So after getting out of the military, you found martial arts, or did you already have martial arts before you got out?
I had martial arts even before I went in the military because of my mom. My mom did martial arts growing up, so she got me into martial arts a little bit. Then in the military, we do like you guys have was it MARPAT or no, not MARPAT? McMap. Yeah, McMap. We had MACP or Modern Army Combatants Program. So I got really into that during basic, because I already did, wrestling, and I did some jiu-jitsu and did some karate growing up. So I was like, okay, I know I love it. This is my thing. And then I got, and then when I was I was doing, I was in the combatives program. Like I was training it, I was teaching it. That was my, because the difference. So like with, I've been only around infantry so much, but like with infantry, you guys can go out when you're here stateside in garrison and still train. You guys can go out and do with weapons training, formation training, all that fun stuff. We don't get that. We are stuck in either a freaking skiff, or we have to do basic. We still do our basic soldiering skills, or like what you guys do. We still do our weapons, we still do our formations, we still do our team movements. We're still doing all that stuff. But with our job specifically, we couldn't, because of how sensitive the training is and how we can't, we want to be our best kept secret. So I got to do combatives instead, which was like really cool. So I got to do that. And when I got out, it was like, oh, I can do this legally and outside the military. Cool. This is awesome.
Yeah. The Army took their martial arts program from what we had and, turned it into the modern day combatives. Because before that what was called line training. I don't remember what the acronym means. I'm all too old and I've been blown up a couple of times, so I don't remember. But I was on recruit duty when that transition was happening. So I didn't get to do the McMap stuff until after I came off recruit duty, and I'd already been in the Marine Corps for 2.5 years at that time. So I was so far behind, and I did not get to where I wanted to get because of my injuries. I only made it to green belt, which is the 3rd belt, I think. But yeah, I wanted to do more. It's a great program that we have, and they continue to build upon. I know buddies of mine that were McMap instructors and instructor trainers that went out to Vegas and trained with some of the UFC guys, and the UFC guys used to go to Quantico and train at the Mace, the center, the martial arts center for excellence at Quantico for the Marine Corps. So I mean, it was a great relationship through Dana White and the UFC and the Marine Corps, and we learned a lot. Both sides learned a lot, right? And it was just, it's a good thing. And then the Army developed their program off of our stuff, and I'm like, oh, finally, they get a hand-me-down. We don't get all the hand-me-downs. The Army's getting a hand-me-down this time. So, but it's all good stuff, right? Because if you go back prior to modern times, right, to now, a lot of fighting, there was some hand-to-hand, Vietnam, Korea, World War I, World War II, and then of course all the way back to the Civil War. And it's like, why did we get away from that? Right? It became more of a defensive type stuff, and now it's the defense mixed in with some offense, with some arm restraints and some grappling and stuff like that, because you never know when you're going to come close and have to put hands on, right, when there's not a weapon involved. So it's just I'm glad that the branches have decided to keep up with the times and the way that things are going in the combative side.
Yeah, I'm glad they did too, because when I was downrange, especially when I was working with the ODAs, there was a couple times like, me thinking, oh, I'm MI, I'm not going to be in the stack. No, I'm in the stack. I'm usually the last guy in the stack, but there's a couple times I'm having to clear a room, and it's night. I've got my nods on. I'm free. I'm on my gun, and I'm all amped up, and all of a sudden I'm running into douchebag who we don't know if he's our target, but I still got to put hands on him to throw him down because we don't want him to freaking kill our HVT. And so there was a couple times like I ran like literally face to face with guys, and I'm like right through doorways, and I'm like, oh, there's a dude there. And luckily training, we got into doing, working with our Redman suits and stuff like that, and actually our blower suits, and be able to go full hands on that. Oh yeah, I can take this guy down. I can, I can start restraining him and get him into zip cuffs, and then okay, we can start getting them off target and start IDing them. But it's crazy to think that, like, and I will say the positives of the UFC and MMA as a whole on the Cabaz program is great. The only thing is that, and any of the listeners, is outside of the military, you can still apply that in a self-defense situations. You can't just think about sport. You got to think about, okay, what about if and that's why I love like seeing these jiu-jitsu gyms where like they'll throw a shock knife in between a couple of competitors, or they'll say, hey, here's a sim gun. Hey, whoever gets the shot off first wins, kind of thing. That's like, because that's reality, and that's great for law enforcement. That's great for security. That's great for the everyday citizen of, hey, you might have to, you might turn a corner, all of a sudden see active shooter right there, and you might have to go hands on. And that's the reality of it.
Yeah. Well, so we have a thing called Special Operations Training Group, and they train the, I'm not going to say it's less than lethal, right? Because there's not a non-lethal weapon, right? There's always something, right? So they do the less than lethal stuff, and they do throw in during some of the training a weapon of opportunity. And sometimes they just hand it right to the dude that's the bad guy. And it's like, oh crap! Now this dude's got it's a rubber knife, right? But he's still got the knife. You have to disarm him. You have to parry. You have to do all that stuff. And sometimes you're doing it after you've been, OC sprayed, or you're friggin' sitting there and you got snot and everything else flying everywhere and you can't see. But then they put on, the Kool-Aid suit and stuff like that. And again, you got the, the batons and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's great training, and it does, and it can very well carry over to the civilian sector. I mean, look how many gyms are doing a women's self-defense class, and it's mostly teaching the grappling, the pressure points, the where can I hit this guy to get his eyes watered up, incapacitate him for a short period of time, and then take off.
So with your martial arts, you pursued it at a very high level. Am I correct?
Initially, I didn't want to. I was just like everybody, and that's the thing, is everybody who, does martial arts is like, oh, I could be the next, I could be the next Chuck Liddell. I could be the next, Conor McGregor. They think that. But the next thing is that we don't, when we start realizing, we get that reality check when we start rolling against like some upper belts, or we start sparring with some upper belt guys, we're like, oh, actually, you know what? There's definitely levels to this. And I got a while. So I initially just started it just to stay in shape and keep my skills up. And yeah, maybe I would end up trying to get to a good promotion. But then I decided, I was like, no, it was 2016. I was like, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna try to go for whatever I could. And unfortunately, because of my injuries that I sustained downrange, the VA was like, hey, got to be kind of very cognitive of your what is it called? Your injuries. So training this stuff like jiu-jitsu, especially, they were like, if you damage your ligaments anymore, like you're jeopardizing your health. And so I was like, okay. So I decided to go into karate, and then I transitioned immediately over into Taekwondo. And what was cool about Taekwondo is that it's a path to the Olympics. You can get to the Olympics. And so at first I was like, oh, maybe I'll try for nationals. And then once, and I got to nationals the first time in 2017, I took third. Yeah. And it was like my second tournament ever in Taekwondo. And I was like, okay. And Team USA jumped on me. They were like, they had scouts there because it's the USA event. And they were like, hey, how many times have you competed? And I'm like, twice. And they're like, what? And you're already taking third at nationals? Yeah, we like you. And so I was put on their, what they call the scout program, which is like, I would talk to their scouts and all this stuff. And then after in 2018 they had nationals near where I live in Salt Lake City, and I took first at nationals that year. And then immediately they're like, "Hey, what's your ask? Like, what do you want next?" And I was like, "I don't know." And I was like, "I maybe go to the next level." And they're like, "Well, the next level is Pan Americans." And so I jumped on that immediately. And it was literally 2 weeks after nationals. I was in Pan Am's. I took first. And the guy, the silver medalist from the 2016 Olympics, who's an American, he actually was like, "Hey, you should try out for team trials and Olympic trials." And so I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And that was going to be in late 2019, early 2020. Then COVID happened, and that kind of just put the hamper on it. It killed the gym I was working with at the time. We had to shut down, and it deflated that. And then that's when that door closed and the next door opened for me.
And what was the next door?
The next door was getting back into doing tactical and security. I ended up going to a trade school, I guess you could say, out in Colorado, in Grand Junction, called Executive Security International. And they train, they do executive protection and they do high threat security PSD work. And I was like,
clientele.
Oh yeah. They work a lot with, they send their students to like Gavin DeBecker. Some even get picked up by the Secret Service. Triple Canopy hit me up. Allied, Northrop Grumman. So I mean, there's some high level DoD contractors, as well as, I mean, we even had reps from the State Department for DSS wanting to take us. And I mean, our instructors were GRS guys and former Blackwater guys, and high level, a couple were former Rangers. I mean, we had a guy in my class who was a sergeant sergeant, just retired as a sergeant major out of Ranger Bat, and walked in and was like, I need to get certified, so I can go and work. And so, and he's in the managerial level now, but like, that's where I was like, well, yeah, cool. And so I did that, and that was my next door. And then I did some contract work again. And because when I was doing my martial arts stuff, I was still doing contract work on the side just to pay the bills. Because fighting can pay the bills, but only when you're at like a super, super high level. Right. You have to be that, or you have to be super active. And even though I was pretty active, it was not enough to pay the bills. So I was doing contract work, loved it, and I got to do some fun stuff, and then got out. When I came back into it, it was still during COVID, so it was like this. And then the other time this is 2021. The whole thing was Afghanistan was happening, where we were drawing down, but contractors were still going in to replace the soldiers. So it was this weird limbo. And so I was getting ready to go back into Afghanistan, and then I got an email from the company I was going to work with, Khaki, they're an Intel company, and they said, "Hey, just to let you know, we're hearing rumblings that this could happen. There's not a good outlook right now with the Afghan National Army. So you guys might get, you might get yoinked out." And so I decided, I was like, all right. And so between contracts, I decided to get into training. I got offered when a company I was working with doing gunsmithing for, they were like, "Hey, do you want to become a trainer?" And then that's when I got into the training, because I had this little light bulb. It was an epiphany where I went, yeah, I can be the guy on the ground doing security, but I can't be everywhere all the time. And so why don't I train guys up to the standards I would put on myself to that, and get them out there. And then I thought, oh, why don't I put this with just the basic civilian citizen? They can do the same thing.
So is that what led you to create VT3C?
Yeah. Well, I was working there, and I became a trainer at that company, and I saw the margins of like what I was making and what the company was making. I was like, wow, these are, yeah, I understand I'm an employee, but and then I hit up a couple of guys that are in the veteran community. One of which, I don't know if you guys probably know him. It's Mike Glover from Fieldcraft Survival.
That sounds familiar. I'd have to see his face.
Yeah, he's really widely known in the preparedness community and in the training community. But he's a sergeant major out of 10th Special Forces Group, GRS guy. Like, dude's a solid operator, and he's a solid person. As an individual man to man, I have a lot of great things with him. But I hit him up and I was like, hey, is this a good margin? He goes, no, dude, like you could be making way more as a private instructor. So I hit up the company I was going through, not the company directly, but the organization I was going through as an instructor of the USCCA. And I was like, hey, can I become an independent contractor, an independent instructor? And they said, yeah, sure. So I put in my 2 weeks notice. And then immediately after that, I had guys ask me to train them and to create VT3C back during COVID, during the 2020s, because we saw the riots happening. We saw COVID. We saw all that stuff going on. And guys, right after I got out of school, bodyguard school, I had guys like, what did you learn? Teach me what you just learned. And so I went there to learn. I took extensive notes just so I could go back and study and keep up on my skills. I didn't realize I was all of a sudden turning into an instructor. But being in the martial arts world, I already was training people. So, being a black belt, it was like, oh, okay, I can teach people. I know how to teach people. And especially coming from the combatives world, and also in the military, when we were downrange, training, the infantry guys to do tactical questioning, or training the local, or training like the ANA or the AMP or, IAA, IEP, and be like teaching them, because that was the easy way for me to, I'm a contracted instructor, because I'd be dressed like this. I go in there and I'm an instructor, but that'd be me doing my intel, like talking to them, like, hey, what happened last night? I heard you guys got into a gunfight. Where did it happen at? How many guys did you encounter? How many did you, just stuff like that. And then also next, I'm getting intel, so I already knew how to do it way prior to me doing actually creating VT3C. And so me doing that was just that next evolution of getting into the idea of training and preparedness for the everyday citizen.
Right.
So that's kind of where it came from. But no, the 2020 really drove my aspect of that. I need to get people prepared.
Yeah. So you got this company, you're getting civilians, regular Joe Blows, prepared for whatever situation might be out there, right?
Yeah.
What would you say is your primary, something that you focus on the most when you're say you got some random Joe Blow just come off the street, don't know hide nor hair of anything? What is something that you primarily focus on at the beginning?
Honestly, one of the first things I actually get really people into is medical. They're TAC med, tactical medicine. I'm a stop the bleed instructor, so it's like getting people on stop the bleed, because we've realized, and I've realized this personally, I've come up onto accidents myself where they are people injured, and I'm like, okay, at least I know I'm trained and certified to do this. So for me, it's kind of more or less the idea of you're more likely to encounter a medical situation than you are a gunfight. So, but even if you're in a gunfight, you're going to need to do medical to keep people alive, to have life-sustaining measures to keep people alive. So I usually preach medical, like, hey, stop the bleed, CPR.
I think we lost you there for a second.
I'll set up a. Oh.
There you go. You're back. You're back.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did I lose you guys?
No, you're good. You're back.
I don't know if he can hear us though. You're here. We hear.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, internet's kind of spotty where I'm at. So with the idea of it is that you guys we can go into a situation, but like we can have mass casualty event, and it doesn't. Everybody thinks mass casualty is a big shooting or a bomb or something like that, but four more people injured is a mass casualty. So you could have a head-on car collision, have 8 people injured, and boom, you're in a mass casualty event.
Yeah.
And you could be in like Gunny, you talked about Maine. I know you guys get some nasty weather up in Maine. You get a couple cars on some icy roads, and all of a sudden, boom, you're in a mass casualty. And so being able to triage them and say, okay, who's going to live, who's going to die, who needs to go right now to the hospital, so they're going to go completely. That's very important, and it's very eye-opening to the modern day citizens. Like, oh, I have to make these decisions. Well, yeah, if you're,
But they don't think about it. They think the first responders just appear like that. Right. And sometimes you're sitting there waiting for first responders to arrive 15 minutes, half hour, 45 minutes, depending on where you're at. Right. So you go about 25 miles, 30 miles north of where I'm from. And it's going to take a while for the first responders to get to you.
Yeah.
Even on the highway.
Yeah, I agree. That Mike Glover from Fieldcraft, I love his saying, be your own first responder. No one's coming to save you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the thing I instill. So like what you were asking, Will, about the Joe Blow, every dude comes off the street. I'm gonna be first thing I'm gonna say is, hey, you need to get some medical. I'm gonna get, now don't get me wrong, I get a lot of the guys who are just like, I just want to shoot guns. I just want to come and learn how to shoot guns. And so I usually start them off, unless they have some kind of formal background that they can actually present me a certificate saying, hey, somebody shows me a DD-214 or like, yeah, hey, or a veteran card. Okay, you at least know how to handle an AR platform firearm, maybe a pistol, maybe some bigger stuff. So, okay, I can go a little bit higher. But like if it's Joe Schmo, never done anything, it's like, yeah, your basic pistol, basic rifle.
You want to be John Wick right away.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, no, you got to start at the basics. You got to learn about grip. You got to learn about trigger press. You got to learn about sight picture. You got to learn about sight alignment. Like, you can't just say, yeah, I'm immediately John Wick. It's like, dude, I'm not the level I'm at immediately. It took me years to get it to the level I'm at, and I'm still learning. I'm still developing as a shooter,
right? So not to take anything away from what you're doing, but going down to Terran Tactical in Vegas, and the amount of rounds he threw at Terran, oh my Lord, would make the basic infantryman friggin' blush, because he did it, and he did it right. And that's the thing, is going into the Wick series, he's like, I don't want to fire 1,000 friggin' rounds, then have a magazine change. I want to do it right. And that's what he did at Terran for years, and still is doing at Terran, right? So if you want to be good at anything, right? So repetition, and I don't know what the number is now, but the number back when I was still in the Marine Corps was 2,000 times. In order for it to be muscle memory, you have to do something 2,000 times to not even think about what you're doing, and just do it.
Well, so one thing we've actually learned this is it's 7 times when you start the neurological path. That neurological path between your muscles and your brain, connecting that dot of saying, yeah, this is how I reload and get back on my grip. 7 times is the start. One of the quotes I love, I'm a big Bruce Lee fan, is he says, don't fear the man who knows 1,000 punches only practice it one time. Fear the man that knows one punch and practice it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in that. So yeah, like you said, repetition, but that's why also the evolution of, going out and slinging lead is great, but just the fact of like Keanu, he would have just sit there and drill, and it's dry fire practice. So, and that's just not only in your firearm stuff, but that's also in your movement, in your CQB, in your communications, and your medical. If I can be able to throw a tourniquet on because I've done it thousands of reps, and it's second nature to me, and it's going to be way faster, way more precise than if I'm sitting there trying to think about it, because
Right.
then the person that's bleeding out is not going to survive because I'm wasting time.
Yeah, it's that muscle memory. I mean, I tell my daughters that all the time. Like Lorelai, she played softball, and I'm like, bro, you need to keep doing the same thing every time. That way, she was a catcher, and plus, when she was hitting, I was like, look, you got to swing the bat the same way every time. I said, the more you practice that, the more it becomes muscle memory. Same thing with catching. I was like, you got to be up on your toes when you're catching. You can't be, your butt can't be on the ground. So it's that muscle memory. As long as you keep doing it over and over again. And same thing when we were in the Marines gunning, they taught us to shoot the same way every time, pretty much.
Damn, dry firing at the barrel for a friggin' week every time before we went to the rifle range.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit.
Yeah, that muscle memory.
That's what it is. I saw a video pop up, and I've seen the video before, and it's Pete Rose, and they asked Pete about changing his swing. He goes, I never changed my swing. Never. He goes, I always leave about an inch towards the end of the bat, right? My swing's always the same swing, always. He goes, I'll choke up, I'll choke down, I'll step to the front of the box, the back of the box, I'll step towards the plate, I'll step away from the plate, but my swing never changes. And that's coming from probably one of the greatest hitters of all time.
Yeah.
All right, so we've hit on quite a lot tonight. Unfortunately, we're getting close to that end of time for us.
We did, but if somebody wants to get in touch with you, come out and do some training, where can they reach you at?
So they can contact me through my email, which is venomtacticaltraining@gmail.com. The other thing people can reach out to me is I do have a website. It's www.venomtacticaltraining.com. They can go on there and they can see all the classes I offer, the programs those classes are associated with, and also we also have like talking about consulting. We give ideas to people, and then one thing I did in there in my website is one of the things I get asked a lot is, well, if I can't train or if I can't remember something you taught me, where do I go to like look it up? So what I did is I built a training archive of YouTube videos of guys I recognize as like really reputable sources or people that I've actually trained with, and I say, yeah, hey, go on there. Here's a bunch of their training stuff on everything from basic pistol all the way up to more advanced stuff, home defense and like shooting at night and stuff like that. So we do that. So yeah, if people want to go on there, it's great website. They can get in there, get in some good information.
All right. So I threw your email in the chat. It's also on the screen right now. VenomTacticalTraining@gmail.com. The website is scrolling across the bottom of the screen right now. That's www.venomtacticaltraining.com. So you go check out there, and you can reach out to Steven there. But it is that time of night. We're going to do
real quick. I do have one more question since he said home defense. You said home defense. So I'm going through looking at the rapid fire. Make sure Willis doesn't have this question in the rapid fire questions. There has been a big debate for many years about what you need for home defense, right? It made national news during the last administration. As a subject matter expert, AR, pistol, or shotgun?
I'm going to go with shotgun. The reason why is you can take a shotgun and you can throw all different kinds of ammo through it really quick, and it's not going to have any hangups, jams, or anything that stuff. But here's the other thing is a shotgun, even though it looks like it's a big gun and it looks like it's got a lot of velocity, it only has so much powder to travel so far. So you're less likely, as long as you're not throwing a slug through it, you're less likely to have overpenetration, and you're less likely to have issues with malfunctions. The other thing is the audible sound of the that is enough of a deterrence if you're using a pump action. Even if you're not using a pump action, just racking a shell into the chamber is enough of a deterrence that people will go, my bad. Wrong house. So me personally, my home defense is I run a shotgun. I actually run a Stoger double defense, double barrel shotgun that I load with a couple different rounds in it. But that's my home defense. But the biggest thing with home defense, besides a firearm, is a light source.
Yep.
You gotta have a light source because Boogeyman is not gonna always come during the day. He's going to come at night, and you got to be prepared to engage them with and know how to shoot during the night and operate a tack light, whether it's handheld or weapon mounted. So besides your firearm, you got to have a flashlight.
Yep. Yeah, nothing wrong with good alternating load of a buckshot and a birdshot.
Heck yeah.
Oh, hey, while you're at it, throwing some, seeing the fire on the screen, why don't you throw in some Dragon's Breath in there while you're at it?
I wasn't going to say that, but yeah.
All right, Gunny, you get to ask the rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Because I made fun of you. You.
All right, we're gonna throw you in the hot seat. You're going full screen as soon as I figure it out here, which one it is. This one. There we go. All right, Gunny.
All right, Steven, you ready?
Yep, hit me.
Army or Marine?
We didn't hear you, Gunny.
Really? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Army or Marines, and choose your answer carefully.
Okay, Army or Marines, and then what was the second part?
Choose your answer carefully.
Man, it's supposed to be rapid fire. You're hurting me here. You're hurting me here because I want to say Army because I'm an Army guy, but I mean, there's a lot of Marines that have you can't go wrong with all the Marines that have a Medal of Honor. So I'm gonna have to say I love my Marines because they'll show up when I call. All
right. Most important survival tool you can carry every day.
Oh, that's a hard one because I carry a lot of things. Okay, survival tool, I would say is most important is your mind, is being prepared with your mind and being mentally prepared. But in the actual sense of a tool, I'm gonna have to say a tourniquet. Got to have a tourniquet.
Nice. What's more dangerous, lack of gear or lack of training?
Lack of training. I'll like there.
Fight or avoid the fight?
Okay, I'm going to give my answer and then I'm going to give the legal answer. Answer for me, I'm going to give fight because I'm not a fighter. I'm a fighter. But avoid the fight if that means repositioning to re-engage. But legally, it depends on your state and your laws because some states have stand your ground where you can stand and engage the threat if you were the one being threatened and not provoking the fight. The second thing is but if your state has duty to retreat, you got to retreat. So, but me personally, fight.
Love it. One martial art everyone should learn.
Oh man, gosh dang it! You're hitting me some good ones. Dang it, Gunny. You got to learn something grappling, whether that's wrestling, judo, or jiu-jitsu. I would say, I'm a judo brown belt. I'm purple belt in jiu-jitsu. I've learned both. I would say go judo, just because you do learn, you learn to stand up and learning how not to get thrown or taken down as much. But jiu-jitsu, judo or jiu-jitsu. But I would say, me personally, judo.
Nice. The biggest preparedness mistake Americans make.
Okay, it depends on the regions, but a lot of people think that it's just food and water and that they only need it for 3 days. Actually, FEMA has just come out. I actually just went through some FEMA training. You want to have at least 3 weeks worth of supplies and stuff like that. But people just think about food and water. No, the biggest mistake is not thinking about your other stuff like your hygiene, your health, and your defense, your firearms, and being prepared to defend yourself.
Nice. If you can only have one, a flashlight, a knife, a first aid kit, or a fire starter.
First aid kit.
Love one military habit that you can still not shake off.
Military lingo. I constantly use acronyms. It's in my website. I have acronyms all over the place. But military lingo, saying Roger that.
Yeah, 100%. What's scarier? HUMINT interrogation or starting your own business?
Oh man. Honestly, starting my own business is way scarier.
I knew that was the answer before I even read the question. All right, last one. Finish the sentence. You're never truly prepared until.
You're never truly prepared until you've been through a situation, been through an emergency.
Yeah, man, appreciate it. Love it. That's it for rapid fire for tonight.
Let me get this all back to normal. All right. Turn the music.
Man, that first one was the worst one. You know that out of all those questions, that first one was the absolute worst one you guys gave me.
That was the easy one.
I just would have said depends on the situation.
You're not wrong, but I mean, there's so many Marines, so many great Marines out there. I mean, one of my favorites, Carlos Hathcock. I mean, I love Carlos. But Chesty Puller. I mean, man, you go through it. There's so many. That's why I'm like, I got to be careful here.
2 weeks ago, we were jumping into the race in Richmond, and I went out a day early. I went to Gunny Hathcock's grave and Chesty's grave and visited both.
I am so jealous of you.
I said the same thing. I said, dude, I'm so jealous. But you didn't get to tell him what you did when you went to the European trip.
Yeah, dude. So I went to Europe and went in Bellawood, and stood in Bellawood, 260 plus acres at Bellawood, raised the Marine Corps flag. Hold on, I gotta grab my camera. So raised that Marine Corps flag in Bellawood. There's a flagpole in the center. And then, okay, which one am I looking at here? Up here on top, there's an American flag. You can barely see it because of the light. That flag was raised at the cemetery in right there by Bellawood. And then that flag was raised at the American Cemetery in Normandy.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, and then crap ton of water from Devil Dog Fountain and water and sand from Omaha and Utah Beach. Yeah, we went to 7 or 8 different American cemeteries over in Europe. I had a great time with my buddy Troy over there, and there's nothing I can do to ever repay him for the memories that we made. My wife and I being over there for 10 days with him and his wife. It was truly amazing.
That's awesome. That's one of my goals. Is so I had 2 great uncles on my dad's side. One was their brothers. One was in the 82nd. The other one was the 101st. They both jumped into Normandy, Operation Market Garden. And then one of them was in the 101st at the Battle of the Bulge at Bastogne. And I want to go. That is like my ultimate goal: go to Normandy, and then go to Bastogne and just be able to walk where they walked and do it in their memory. Yeah.
I don't think I had any family members over there, but just walking those hallowed grounds, right? And we went, like I said, we went to 7 or 8 cemeteries. None of those boys came home. I said it on the show after I got back. Everybody that's buried at the cemeteries here, they're home. They're back on, true U.S. soil, not soil that was claimed by the U.S. to have a cemetery or given to us by that country that they're buried in. You walk there and you see these hundreds of thousands of people that are still there. You read the names on the walls in all these cemeteries of guys that are still missing, or you're walking around and you see unknown. And it's like, why? They've DNA typed all of them. They're just waiting for family members to be like, hey, I think my grandfather was in this area. We haven't heard. They DNA type. They are finding people all the time over there and either repatriating them back to the States or, leaving them there at the family's wishes. But Bastogne is one that we did not get to. We didn't get to that northern part. We did Belgium, Netherlands, down into central France, and then up into the Normandy region. But yeah, truly, truly amazing sights to see and just walk the grounds. We walked every cemetery I found a soldier service member from Maine and one from Kentucky, where I live now. And then we searched the Medal of Honor recipients that are buried in each cemetery.
Wow.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Well, Stephen, I want to say thank you very much for coming on and talking about yourself and your business there, VT3C. Websites out there. So you guys that are watching now or listening or later, go check out what Stephen's got going on there with VT3C and hit him up, man, and check him out and see how he can help you be better prepared for whatever's coming. So thank you again, Stephen. We're gonna drop you in the green room. We're gonna finish up. We're gonna wrap up. If you want to hang out and chat afterwards, we'll be here. If you got things to do, then we know you got things to do. So we're gonna wrap it up real quick.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
How cool was that, Gunny?
It's good, man. I mean, no matter what side of the fence you're on, what political party you lean to, there's nothing wrong with receiving proper information and being prepared for anything, right? It's a home invasion, an attack, rolling up on an accident. I mean, there's just so many things out there, so many traumatic events out there that, a lot of people are not prepared for. And, guys like Steven and his company are doing that. They're preparing you for, the possibility of something. I'm not saying it's going to happen if you prepare for it, right? There's a lot of guys that prepared for war that we served with Willis that never went because they got out prior to, right? We come in 97. There was nothing going on in 97, right? So you look at from coming in when we did June of 97, when's your 4 years up? June of 01. You're gone before 9/11 happens. You're gone before that first deployment into Afghanistan happens. You're gone almost, 4 years before the 03 deployment into Iraq. So there's a lot of people out there that served during peace of time that trained and trained and trained and trained and never, had to apply what they were training for. So there's nothing wrong with being prepared. I mean, it's good stuff. It's good knowledge. It's just something that especially the first aid piece, right? I mean, there's so many people that pull up on an accident and are panicking and don't know what to do, right? Especially if you have a head wound, right? And everybody, oh, let's get you out of the car. Let's do this. If the damn car's not on fire, leave the person in the car. Don't move them.
Don't move them.
If there's neck or back or anything like that, treat the wound. Stop the bleeding. Treat the wound.
That's where a lot of people make that mistake is they roll up on a multi-car accident and they see somebody that is in a car, possibly trapped or whatnot, bleeding from the head and stuff. They're like, oh, well, let's move them. But yet they don't know, do they got whiplash? Do they got, spinal damage? So they make that mistake of moving them and that
causes more damage.
Yeah, it causes more. They're paralyzed for the rest of their life. So, God, it was great. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those shows, and it's different than being a doomsday prepper, right?
For sure.
Now,
you're not stacking a friggin' bunker full of MREs, ammo, and water and canned goods, for the end of times.
Yeah,
you're preparing for things that could happen on a day-to-day, like normal everyday day.
Yeah. I love I love what he's doing. I think everybody, especially, I think everybody should be prepared for some sort of, like with me with AT&T where I work at. I'm CPR certified. I'm not, not stop the bleeding certified or anything like that. But if somebody has the IEDs, is that what they're called? The things?
No, the AED. An IED is
whatever they're the ones that restart your heart. I'm trained on that too. I know how to use it. I've never had to use it, but I know how to use it. But yeah, do
you use an IUD as well?
No,
I mean, come on.
I'm snipped already, brother. I don't need to use that. Anyway, Gunny, I'm glad you're back, and I know you're getting ready to get busy on me,
brother.
But,
I am gone every weekend between now and Thanksgiving.
I love it. I love it, man.
But I'll try to make the show when I can, so even if I'm coming in remote from some God knows where, BFE USA somewhere, but yeah.
All right, you ready for your
bro.
your little
Waiting on you.
Hey, I'm just chit-chatting here, brother.
Gunny's Words of Wisdom.
Don't forget. Yeah. Don't confuse forgiveness for reconciliation.
Say that for the people in the back.
Don't confuse forgiveness for reconciliation.
I like it.
Just because I forgive you for whatever evil you did towards me or my family doesn't mean we're good. I've been blown up. I might forget some things, but I ain't forgetting that damn burned bridge.
That's right.
Family or not.
So I was talking with a future guest yesterday when the wife and I went to the fair, and she was talking about my original co-host, and I was like telling her, I was giving her the brief synopsis of what happened, right?
Yeah.
And I said, I looked at her, I said, I will tell you this. I said, if that person called me today and said, hey, I need your help, I would go help them to the fullest extent that I could. I said, but will we ever be as close as we were before? No, because that bridge is already burned. Because I'm not going to tell no veteran I'm not going to help them, because I can't do that. That's not who I am. It's not in my DNA to tell a veteran I can't help.
How long does it take to build a bridge? Right.
A long time.
Let's just go real life. They're getting ready to build a bridge here going to Cincinnati. That shit's been in the works for 15 years. They just started drilling to put the posts in.
Yeah, it takes a while.
If they take down that other bridge, how long is that going to take to come down? A hell of a lot quicker than it took to went up.
Amen. Amen. All right, here we go, Gunny.
It's time for the joke of the day.
Why wasn't the cactus invited to hang out with the mushrooms?
Why wasn't the cactus invited to hang out with the mushroom? He had too many pricks?
He wasn't a fun guy.
Oh, my jeez. What the freaking A?
That was a good one. I thought it was. All right, Gunny, it's that time, brother. Let's do it.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, you're not alone. You still have worth. You still have value. Don't let the dark days win. And you do not, absolutely do not have to become a product of your environment. Man, this thing called life is hard. It's not meant to be easy. We all have a plan at 16, 17, 18, whenever we graduate high school. And you're like, I'm going to go do this and this. That's a good plan. Just as straight as that line right there. But life happens, and it's just as jagged as that bunch of books over there to get from point A to point B.
So
you're not at
all. You know who Ratman is, right? You remember Ratman?
Yep.
He just put that in the chat there for you. All right. In the silence of your struggles, remember, though unseen, you are deeply held in the hearts of others. You are not alone. The uniform may come off, but the bond remains. And together we heal. Together we rise. And together we carry each other forward. And the key word there is together. We as a veteran community, we as humans, we are better suited to be together. So let's stop the hate. Let's help each other to carry each other forward, to heal, and to rise. Hashtag be someone stranger. Listen, we as humans, we're more apt to talk to a complete stranger than the ones we love the most. So be someone stranger today, right? If you're out and about and you see somebody and it looks like they're having a bad day, go up to them, say, hey, how are you doing? And if they give you the red flags, I'm okay, I'm hanging in there, I'm living the dream, ask the next hard question. How are you really doing? And be ready for that conversation. It could be a 5-minute conversation. It could be an 8-hour conversation. But here's the key. Just listen. Don't try to fix, because a lot of times we just want to get it out. We don't need somebody to fix it.
Yeah, and it takes a village. You know, we didn't do our service alone, right? We did, or as you're a first responder, you're not out there on the streets fighting every night by yourself. You know, every day by yourself. You have your coworkers out there that have your back if the call arises. The mental health side of what we do is friggin' horrible, right? We've all seen some traumatic stuff. There are people out there that are going through the same thing or similar things that you're going through that have come out on the other side of it. We all have a village in our hands. Don't be afraid to use it.
I love it. All right. Up next, we're going to talk about our community partners. We're going to kind of go through these a little bit quick because we talk about them all the time here on the HomeFront SitRep. First, I want to show. I'm just going to go ahead and throw these up there. Available on our website are our shirts that you can go buy. So you can get the Marine It Down shirt, which is a co-branded shirt. We have the spicy pineapple, which says on the back, tossing joy in people's lives since 1918. Gunny, how do you say that?
Well, Miles says spicy.
So go get you that shirt, or you can get your HomeFront SitRep shirt. You can get your red Remember Everyone Deployed shirt. You can do your hashtag You're Not Alone shirt, or Be Someone Stranger shirt as well. There's a few of them that have multiple shirt colors that you can pick from. Font colors also change on a few of them as well. So go check out homefrontsitrep.com and click on our merch link, and you can see it there. Let's talk about. All right, run it down.
Yeah, SOF Missions, sofmissions.org is the website. Great group doing amazing things down out of Tampa, Florida. They do a bunch of clinics throughout the year, like one clinic a month. They take a couple months off. They have 2 all-female clinics throughout the year. The next one comes up in October. They also include first responders. It's just not for veterans. If you're a first responder and you want to attend, under branch, the drop down under branch at the very bottom, you'll see fire, police, EMS. I cannot say enough about this organization. I just got my replenishment of my supplements from them while I was in Maine. The entire program is catered to you, the individual, and your individual needs.
For 365 days afterwards.
And if you choose to do so after the clinic, it's 365 days aftercare. And they do a 30, 60, 90, 6-month follow-up. And, you know, when you're running low on supplements, you just hit them up. Hey, I need a supplement replenishment, and they'll send it to you.
Amen.
And there's a ton of other things too. I'm not going to ruin the surprise.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch. You just have to go to sofmissions.org and check it out for sure, because there's a ton that they do. Up next is heroesmediagroup.com. This is the HMG family. HomeFront SitRep's been a proud family member now for 3 years. I will ask, if you're the praying type, to pray for my buddy Adam. His family got some news that's not great. So do me a favor, pray for Adam at Heroes Media Group and his family. But check out HMG, heroesmediagroup.com. Look at all the veteran podcasts that he has on the platform and everything that he does for the veteran community with Military Creator Con, Military Influencer, the Military Influencer Conference, everything that he does. So check out heroesmediagroup.com.
Yeah, Reach Across America. Man, been a great partnership with Jeff and his crew for going on close to 3 years now. You can find HomeFront SitRep's podcast every Thursday night, 11 p.m. Eastern at reachacrossamerica.org/radio. And I mean, there's a ton of other great programs there too. Or if you want to, go to Reach Across America and hit that donate tab and donate money so the national cemeteries, state cemeteries can get a wreath that they can lay this year at the Reach Across America event.
Heck yeah. Same flag, same oath.com. This is a a small veteran-owned company that does our shirts. They do hats. They do a little bit of everything. They just got a laser, so they're going to be doing laser engraving too. So check out sameflagsameoath.com. Matt and Becky Johnson out there outside of Katy, Texas. They are phenomenal. I highly recommend them if you want some good shirts, good quality. I'm wearing one right now and I love it. All right, Gunny, you're up.
Man, yeah. EliteEngraving24.com. Got this amazing Moog Mile hat, the HomeFront SitRep hat, got the lovely Team Fast Tracks hat with the black carbon fiber. Man, husband, wife, veterans, own business, anything you need laser engraved from wood to leather to glass to metal, they got it. They do have another special thing coming online. I'm not going to ruin it for them. I'll let them talk about it when it happens. I'm super excited for Elite Engraving for what they have coming up here in the near future. It's going to be great for that organization. But yeah, anything you need, if you want that HomeFront SitRep hat that Willis is wearing, hit them up. Tell them you want the HomeFront SitRep hat. That nice red carbon fiber with the black backing. It's pretty sharp.
Heck yeah, man. I love Elite Engraving 24. Some people would say Gunny has an elite engraving problem.
I say it, bro. I got 8 hats. Freaking 8. And you have one for me.
I know.
So
I got.
I've got. There's one in the other room. Actually, it's still attached to my bag because I wore it this weekend for work. I have. Hold on. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, hold on. There's another one. And again, there's one in the other room. And you have one. Yeah. Dude, I've got issues over here. I've got issues on my issues.
You got issues on your issues. All right. Up next, we got Valor Coins and Pin. This is Brent and Brian Casey, brothers, grandsons of the late great Herschel Woody Williams, Medal of Honor recipient. When he was talking about Medal of Honor guys from the Marines, first person that popped in my head was Herschel Woody Williams. What he has done for Gold Star families across the country.
What's continuing to be done in his name.
Yeah. Go ahead and hit that button, Gunny. You know which button. You know which button.
Phenomenal.
It's phenomenal. Heck yeah. So go check out Valor Coins and Pins. These guys do pins, they do coins, they do patches, they do a little bit of everything. If they don't do what you want them to do, you can ask them, say, hey, do you recommend somebody? More than likely, they'll be able to help you out in that aspect. Now,
yes,
the cool
they
thing,
will.
Yeah. The cool thing about Valor Coins and Pins is when you order a set of challenge coins, you order 100, right? That's the minimum, I think. You order 100. Well, a percentage of that sale goes to the Woody Williams Foundation to help fund the Gold Star monuments that go up across the country and in these cities to help a Gold Star family or the Gold Star families in that area, showing them that people still remember and we still care. So check out Valor Coins and Pins. And if you're in the market for a challenge coin or a pin, whatever, they'll take care of you.
Yeah, RDC Shoes, Darren Davis, Marine veteran, former law enforcement officer. Man, they have the 2 shoes. They have the Glory, which is a red and white shoe. And you know what? I've been wrong for many months on this show talking about that new Glory shoe, because it's not just the tongue of the shoe that has the blue field and the stars. It's that little cuff on the back and the sides of the shoe too that have it. So it's a different iteration from the original Glory shoe that I have. Great fitting shoe. They're very, very comfortable. The eyelets on the top on each side are gold to represent the Gold Star families. On the back of the Glory shoe right now is the Folds of Honor logo, and a portion of the proceeds of that shoe goes to the Folds of Honor Foundation to provide scholarships for veterans of the kids of severely wounded or killed in action service members. And then they have the Patriot, which is, I'm very partial to the Patriot. I love that shoe. That shoe is so comfortable. I wear it in my suits. I've worn it all over the world, but it's the blue field with the stars. with a red and white tongue. Again, gold star eyelets on the top. And a portion of the proceeds of that shoe goes to support the Woody Williams Foundation and the Medal of Honor Society. And every single pair of shoes that you order comes with an 8.5 by 11 hero card of a Medal of Honor recipient.
I love it. I love my Patriot shoes. I wear them everywhere. I wore them to the fair yesterday.
I think I got to order the new Glories too, because I mean they look nice. They look real nice, and it's a different sole than my original Glory. So I think I got an RDC shoe problem too, man.
Oh, well, we might. All right. Up last but not least is our website, HomeFrontSitRep.com. Go check out our website. It does need to be updated. So if you know anybody who can update a website and keep it running for us, it'd have to be free, of course, because we don't make any money doing this. We need somebody to help us out a little bit. You know, us two
We will
old
pay
farts,
you. It's free, free.
Yeah, free 99. We definitely need some help because us two old farts, it's a lot on us to do what we do with our regular stuff that we do in our day life, and then come on and do the podcast and schedule guests
Even
and
if
all
I
of that.
didn't have a quote unquote job, because I love what I do, right? It's not work. It's
Right.
it's truly passion. I got a wife and kids, man. I got a service dog that's needy.
Yeah.
I get I don't know 3 hours, 4 hours a week away from her because I'm locked in the office and she can't be up my bucket. But I love my Echo.
Echo's amazing. All right, man. Other than that, Gunny, I think we've said it all, right?
Other than it is the last week of August, which means one thing.
Tip of the spear.
Tip of the spear. Wednesday, 7 p.m.
Yep. And you'll see a lot of great podcasters on there. What?
Oh, look at Troy's comment. Son of a.
He might.
He has been friggin' agitating me with that for a very, very long time. It's a great looking truck. Don't get me wrong.
Rob, I need to reach out to you, Rob. I'm going to add you as a friend from my personal account. I think we need to chit chat a little bit, brother.
I would love to have a Helix, especially the diesel. Absolutely. Even though that it is the vehicle of choice for, terrorists.
Yeah, we might not need that. But anyway, Gunny, it's that time of night, my friend.
Yep.
Like we always say on HomeFront SitRep, stay safe out there.
We got your 6.
Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this show.
Suggestions and comments are always welcome.
Cannot wait to have another great show with y'all.
Don't forget you can find HomeFront SitRep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Stay safe out there. I got your 6.